of all, can I thank Sinn Féin for bringing forward this motion, which takes an overarching view to the absolute need to provide greater supports both to people with disabilities and carers. It's also very interesting and timely to see that today IBEC have issued quite a detailed report entitled Better Care, Better Business. And many of the recommendations in the IBEC report are very similar to what's in the Sinn Féin proposal. And I note the government has not opposed the motion. I wonder why that's the case, and I might come to that later. But there does seem to be broad acceptance that many of the proposals in this motion are also contained in the IBEC report. The government are not opposing, so therefore it makes sense that they would be implemented. As somebody who either chaired or co-chaired the Carers Interest Group in the European Parliament for 14 years and co-chaired it here in the Dáil, and as an honorary member of Eurocarers, I have always said we need to see a paradigm shift in how we deal with care in our society. Care isn't an add-on. Care is central to our lives from the very beginning to the end. Society, as we have constructed it, could not function without care provision being at its core. And for too long, care happened behind closed doors of the family home with little support, largely invisible and hugely undervalued. And while that has changed to some extent, the burden of care still falls very heavily on families with inadequate financial supports, inadequate respite provision and inadequate services. Now, in the few minutes I've left, I want to concentrate on just 2 or 3 issues. First, the absolute need to provide statutory home care scheme similar to the Fair Deal scheme. This was promised in the programme for government. Where is it? Why has it not happened? People want to live in their own homes for as long as possible, and that care needs to be on a statutory footing, an entitlement. That is absolutely essential. And Minister, I don't know what the figures are, but to me, I think it would be more cost effective and probably cost the state far less than a Fair Deal scheme. Secondly, I believe the carers allowance should never be means tested. A family carer in Sligo has described it to me many, many years ago as the mean test, because support for carers should be based on the care they provide, full-time care to a person who needs full-time care, and not on the income coming into their household. It's anti-woman, it's anti-men, it's anti-family. And also, we have the situation where families are granted care hours, a half-hour morning, half-hour in the evening. They often wait ages to get it, then they don't get what's allocated. If a carer is out sick, on holidays, not available, nobody turns up. And as far as respite is concerned, today, Minister, by chance, my office inquired about respite. And do you know what they were told? They were told that because of the winter plan, there are no beds, no respite beds for the months of January, February and March. Minister, that's incredible. That's what my office was told, and how are families supposed to manage this? They were specifically told it's because of the winter plan. And yet, carers need respite, and very often they need it in emergency situations. Now, finally, Minister, I said earlier, why have you not opposed this motion from Sinn Féin? Well, obviously, there's a lot of good stuff here that all of us would support, but I think it's partly due to the fact that we are having a referendum on Friday. But, Minister, I have to say to you that what matters is not striving to deliver, because, in my opinion, it's a word that's not justiciable and it will be meaningless in the Constitution. But what matters is the delivery of services, the delivery of respite, the delivery of support. That is what matters to family carers and nothing else. And tonight we see you do not oppose what's here, a lot of really good solutions. But, Minister, you haven't delivered up to now to the extent to which it needs to be. And I think a lot of people watching here and thinking about how they're going to vote on Friday will say, tonight, not opposing, coming forward with your proposals is too late.